locally we're well out of whack. So through looking at the pay grades, I'm recommending this be moved, the inspectors level 1, level 2, level 3 be moved to a pay grade 15, which would start them at about 60,272 at the starting end and end at 74,492. You can see the 60,002 puts them right at the low end of where everybody else is starting. So we're competitive on the attraction side. The retainment we're a little light on, but I think that's our start place. That's where we have to start to see if we can get people attracted into the positions. We do have another caveat in here, and that is we would like to add which I don't know if I put in my motion now that I think about it. I didn't. I missed it in my motion. Is this idea of a $2,000 stipend for those that carry multiple licenses with us. So we currently have a plumbing and mechanical inspector, for example. Before I hired Nate, we had a plumbing inspector and a mechanical inspector, 2 FTEs, 2 insurances, 2 retirements, 2 salaries. Nate came in, he was licensed in both. And so we were able to eliminate 1 FTE, 1 insurance, 1 retirement.
Oh, I see.
I think we should give a stipend to those that we can attract on an annual basis, give them an extra couple grand to again entice somebody to come in with multiple licenses and use those because it benefits us long term.
Right.
So I didn't include that in my motion, and I will make that adjustment if this moves forward to the board to make sure that piece is added.
Kind of good investment, right?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, for $2,000, you know, this individual inspector can, receive a little compensation from us, and then we benefit in a big way. It's kind of like in lieu of on our insurance. If you opt out of our insurance, it benefits the county because we're not paying the $15,000, $18,000, $20,000 for insurance, and the employee's actually receiving a benefit, $2,600 or $3,000 or whatever it is a year. So I think it's a similar type of incentive. So that's what I'm looking for with regard to the inspectors. Now, as we discussed at the end of that last meeting, incidentally, it created an issue for the director position.
Right.
In that pay grade separation. I know it was a bit of a surprise to the administrator the last time because we hadn't had the chance to talk about it, but the purpose for me bringing that forward at this time is simply a fairness issue. The separation, if we were to bring those guys up to a pay grade 15, the separation between what the director would be making and his subordinates would be making is 5.8%, 1 pay grade. Historically, the county has always separated their employees, directors from subordinates by 2 pay grades. 2 pay grades in Parks and Recreation, 2 pay grades in Central Dispatch, as the examples I used, both have a 14.1% separation. So there is, 14.1% of a gap versus the 5.8 that this would create if we move the inspectors up. Elected officials in the Siegel Water study were all separated by the 26%. So the gap is even bigger there between them, and then 14% and then 5.8. And I think just simply in a fairness issue to myself, to that position for long-term recruitment of that position, you have to maintain a separation that makes sense to the management of those employees below the subordinates. As an example, 2 or 3 meetings ago, with regard to the prosecuting attorney's office, the senior prosecutor position was moved onto the pay scale and pumped up because when we raised the salaries of the attorneys to be equal to what we did at the public, what we were forced to by the state to do at the public defender's office, it created a no gap there for that senior prosecuting attorney who's overseeing. And the board did in a 6-1 vote move to jump that pay grade, jump it onto the scale and put it at a pay grade higher so that there was some separation. I would argue that they're similar. They're not exactly the same because that senior prosecutor is not responsible for all the same things that a director would be. That would be Prosecutor Barberry's responsibility. But there is still a single level of management, and we've done it outside of a wage study. We've done it based on market, and I'm just simply asking for that in fairness to the position that we move that to a pay grade 17 from a 16. that movement will put it in line with where everybody else or what all the other management team is sitting at. And so we've got them in two different issues on the agenda. I only put one staff report together, so I'm kind of melding these two together, the next two together. But that's currently where I sit, is I would be seeking the movement of the level 1, level 2, and level 3 inspectors to a pay grade 15 to be competitive with the market and provide them with that $2,000 stipend if they have the multiple licenses. And due to moving those, I would ask that you move the director's pay from a pay grade 16 to a pay grade 17 to maintain that 2 pay grade separation as we've had historically here in the county.
Any comments or questions?
At this point.
Okay, I'll just read this again because we have the consider approving level 1, level 2, level 3 inspectors at the pay grade 15 and maintain the current employee step within the scale effective immediately, and provide a $2,000 stipend for inspectors with 2 licenses. Could I get a motion on that, please?
Support. Yeah, I read the same thing again. Consider approving the level 1, 2, and 3 inspectors at pay grade 15, maintain the current employee step within the scale effective immediately with that $2,000 stipend included.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 as amended to the regular and work session of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. The motion is carried, and that item will be moved to the next week's meetings. Okay, the next one, which we already discussed, could I get a motion on that, please?
Make a motion to consider approving the community development director salary at pay grade 17 and maintain the current employees step within the scale effective immediately.
Support. It's been moved and supported to all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's been moved and approved to move item 6 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. We already did that. Okay, that'll be put on the agenda next week. Okay. Now we have the rest of it, right?
Yeah, the newly added item.
Do you have an extra copy of that?
I
Or is there an extra copy from you or beside you?
Yeah. Oh,
Is that extra?
You know, that's okay.
Oh, I don't want to, I don't
We're
want to
at it.
take yours.
You need me to take a copy?
Nope, I'm just gonna look at it really quick. You can have it back. Thank you. Thank you. You have that. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought Ryan was bringing copies. Sorry.
he did. He brought those.
yeah.
Okay, so this is an issue, the superintendent for Shepherd Public Schools contacted me on Friday, Terry Starr. So when schools do construction projects under state law, they go through the state of Michigan for their plan review and their inspection process, regardless of the fact that there could be a local unit, which is Isabella County, who does inspection work in that jurisdiction or that territory. The Shepherd Public Schools ran into some frustrations with the state of Michigan due to timing. Well, they got a project they want to get moving. They've got some grant money. State's got like 4 weeks or something like that just to review the application and take a look at it. They called us up and asked if we would do the work. There is a process that we have to file paperwork with the state of Michigan. It's this delegation of, it's a big long title, request for annual delegation of school plan review and inspection authority to the local unit of government reporting agency. So we basically have to file this form with the state of Michigan to be able to take that jurisdiction back over locally. Shepherd schools have requested it. The document needs to be signed by somebody here in the county, being probably the chairman. The form basically is filled out for Shepherd Public Schools, us as the enforcing agency, us as being able to provide all the services that they need, signed currently by the school. I believe he's this board superintendent. And now needs just to come in front of the board for action for signatures so that we can do that work locally here. for the county. Again, a very similar situation if we were using state inspectors on, again, the slowdown process and the cost and that stuff. This money is going to stay local now. They're going to pay for our inspection services here locally, rather than sending that money down to Lansing.
Okay, any questions or comments? I'll just read the recommendation here as a motion. Move to approve the request for annual delegation of school plan review and inspection authority for the Shepherd Public Schools and authorize the board chair to sign the same. You make that motion, just
Yep.
call it numbers.
Make a motion to move to approve then request the annual delegate of school plan review and inspection authority for the Shepherd Public Schools and authorize board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move the item to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye is carried. The item will be moved to next week's county commission meetings.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Our next item is consider approving the curbside roll-off drivers and curbside roll-off driver operator to a pay grade 8 at a fiscal year 2024 cost of $23,743.04 effective immediately. We have. I just saw. Okay. Got it.
It's Charity, not Jake.
Yeah, Charity.
Yeah,
Sweet,
Jake's
Charity.
on vacation, yeah.
Charity Sweet, give us the lowdown on this. Hi, Charity.
Okay, before we get started,
Yes.
I would like to make an announcement. Last Monday, me and Jake went up to a conference. It was the start of a conference for the Michigan Sustainability 2023. We gave a presentation on the facility with the improvements that we are looking to try to do and work in collaboration with some of the surrounding counties. Next Cycle puts on these events once a year to help individuals and businesses to help bring in some support, whether that be to work in collaboration or to pull in some possible investors to be able to move forward with those. And we went up and gave the presentation and we were awarded the best pitch presentation award, and that comes with $10,000 to go towards anything we would like in the facility.
Congratulations.
Here's what that looks like if you'd like to look at it, but anyhow, moving on.
That's great.
Congrats.
Yeah, so in regards to the staff report, we have had an open position for a part-time driver for over 2 months now, and we have had no qualified applicants to date. It was mentioned in previous Board of Commissioners meetings that if some of the departments were having an issue filling some of these vacant positions, that we come forward with some suggestions on what we could do to be able to attract and retain employees in these positions. After the last committee meeting, when we brought something forward, you guys had asked us to do a little investigating and maybe bring some information to you guys. So we hit the ground running and we went online to see if we could find anything there to be able to compare these positions to some of the surrounding businesses to us in regards to waste hauling, and we couldn't really find anything online. And so I made a couple of phone calls to some of the local haulers, and the reason they don't post it online is because they want people to actually get a hold of them so that way they can negotiate with them. What I did find is that these businesses our starting wages are right around $20 an hour, 20 to 22. And they are offering, because now in order for you to obtain your CDL, you have to go through schooling in order to get that. And that the cost to an individual is up to around $5,000 for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So these businesses are actually offering to hire these individuals, even with no experience, they'll start them out at, well, the one company here will start them at $21 an hour with no experience, and they pay for their schooling, they pay for them and pay for any training until they get their license. Once they obtain their license, then they bump them up to a higher wage. So Waste Management and both GFL out of Harrison, I gave them a call, and that's the going rate, is right around $22 an hour. And then they pay for the schooling. They also offer a pretty good benefits package, as well as they'll pay for college education for not only the employee, but all of their dependents as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they increased the wages some time ago. They had to be competitive with some of the other companies, so. What we're asking is to increase the wages for the drivers in order to attract and retain. The county offers currently at a pay grade 6, a starting wage of $15.38 an hour.
Wow, that's some McDonald's.
Yeah, and then we top out at 1901. What we did hire a full-time driver at the end of last year, and with permission from the board, we were able to use a full scale of that pay grade. And we ended up having to start them out at the top of the pay scale. And the problem when we do that is that there's no room for improvement unless we're offered a cost of living increase. So what we're asking is to start them out at a level 8, starts out at, I believe it was 18. I got it down here. It starts at $18.21 an hour.
Which is closer to the,
It's closer to that amount, and I think with that said, with the new policies that we come out with in regards to part-time drivers, we can really push the new holiday pays that they get and things like that. I really think that this would bump it up enough that we would be able to attract and retain the employees that we currently have, without, you know, obviously some of these other companies are offering to pay for the schooling and everything else. At this time, I don't think we're there.
Mhm.
No.
There is a common dilemma in all departments, I'd say.
Yeah,
Well, and I will, you know, in regards to this and the
Mhm.
other requests, at finance this morning, I'm bringing forward the recommendation for the wage study vendor. The vendor states a 20-week timeline. So yes, I realize there are problems in the current structure. That's why we are doing another wage study. So it will be underway shortly. So with that forthcoming, I will have a hard time supporting any of the requests right now. I think our system is messed up. I think a wage study will help to correct that.
So are you recommending that we,
I will,
Well-
as most issues, this needs to go to the board, right?
Yeah,
This needs
yeah.
to be talked about as a
Mhm.
board. I don't think it should be stopped here.
Right.
Okay.
Could I get a motion, please?
make a motion to consider approving the curbside roll-off drivers and curbside roll-off driver operator to a paid grade 8 at the fiscal year 2024 cost of $23,743.04 effective immediately.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 7 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Ayes carry. The item will be moved to next week's county commission meetings. Okay. Thank you. Whoops. Thank you. Thank you,
She's up.
Charity.
Jake's gone, she's on,
Right,
right?
okay. Oh. Our next item is consider approving consumers energy utility easement request regarding access to the Pierre Marquette Rail Trail and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have Alexis Hanson here, Parks and Recs Director, to provide us with the information about this item.
Good morning. So at the beginning of October, I was contacted by an acquisitions representative from Consumers Energy Company. There is a resident in Wise Township, which is obviously in our county, who is requesting a gas connection to their home. And so the most cost-effective and efficient way for consumers to provide that service to that resident is to bore a pipeline connection that would run below the Pierre Marquette Rail Trail across a parcel that is owned by Isabella County and connect to that residence. I did discuss back and forth with Consumers Energy Company the alternatives. Basically, if we don't grant the easement, the cost goes way up for that resident and to the point where they may not even be able to go through with the connection. We also talked about the design, and with this being a underground bore pipeline, it's not going to have a significant impact or disruption to the use of the trail.
Good.
So with that information, our department kind of thought, well, this isn't causing any issue or disruption for us. It's allowing the resident to connect to the service in the way that's the most cost effective. So we didn't have any issue with it. We received the easement contract from Consumers. It was reviewed by county legal counsel. They had no issues with it, said it was a standard easement agreement, and, you know, recommended that we move it forward for approval from the board. Again, I just want to kind of point out, this is an Isabella County resident who's requesting this service, and it's not going to hurt our property at all to allow this to happen. There's a map attached. You can see they're kind of at a weird angled intersection. And so if they don't come across the trail, they would have to go actually across an entire actual 2-lane road, which would, you know, make the cost of the project go way up for the citizens. So
Is this where the house is?
yes.
97.
Yep.
Got it.
One other thing I did confirm, this won't cost us anything. They are going to pay the recording fees, and any Consumers is going to pay any associated incidental costs. So basically, by allowing this, there's no financial impact to the county.
They're even responsible for recording.
Yes, yep, yes, which Tim Perrone pointed out, and then I followed up with the Consumers rep and confirmed that yes, they do pay the recording fee and all of those type of costs. So no cost, no delay to the use of the trail, really just helping a citizen be able to get a utility service.
My only concern would be, are there other citizens out there that would want to do this too?
That is not a discussion that we had.
I mean, are we setting a precedent that I don't see a problem with this? I mean, you're being a good neighbor and getting them on board, but
Attorney Perrone didn't mention anything about that, and I think he would, I'm not saying we asked him that question,
Right.
but we certainly could ask him that question
I
before
would
Tuesday.
ask that question and see if they have any reason that this would add other people wanting to do it.
Now, does this
Okay.
set a precedent, you know, for us in any regard?
Yeah, that's definitely something I can discuss with him, and I can even go back to Consumers and ask some more questions before Tuesday's meeting, which I will then be able to answer. those
Okay.
questions.
Okay, that
Right,
sounds
yeah,
good.
that's all it is. Okay, I'll make a motion to where we are here.
8.
Consider approving consumer power utility easement request regarding access to the Pierre Marquette Rail Trail and authorize board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 8 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same. The ayes carry. Item 8 will be moved to next week's meetings of the county commission. Okay, continuing on with number 9, which is consider approving the annual Fisher Annex lease renewal for Deerfield Nature Park from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. What do we have on this, Alexis?
So this is the 160-acre Fisher Annex. The county has been leasing this since 1983. It's a pretty significant chunk of property. So Deerfield Nature Park in total is 591 acres. That does include this 160-acre annex. So that's a significant portion of the park. So the financial impact here is that we pay the annual, and this is built into the lease agreement, we pay the annual property taxes. That has ranged over the last several years, anywhere from $3,057 to $5,274. I think the estimated cost for this year's property taxes is right around $5,800. And then basically with the lease agreement, what you'll see is that we as the county takes on the maintenance, and we have the use of that property, and we pay the property taxes. That's kind of the relationship that's existed for many, many years. Basically, if we wanted to make any major improvements or add any infrastructure, we just have to provide or secure written permission from the Fisher Company. And we do carry insurance on that property as part of the lease agreement as well. But really, I mean, for us, this is kind of, it's a critical piece of property that's added onto that park. And we certainly have the financial means to hold up our end of the agreement. And I would hate to see, it would be a huge loss for our county park system to not continue with this agreement.
I'd say it's a really good deal.
It really is. And I will note that the lease agreement as is, I did not provide the signed version in my staff report, and that was because the version that we mailed them must have gotten lost in the mail or wasn't received. Actually, when I leave this meeting, I'm going over to their office to drop off a hard copy and get it signed. So before Tuesday's meeting, we will have that signed copy for the board.
Okay,
We want to thank them.
yeah,
Yes,
That's a good deal.
absolutely.
Okay, I'll make a motion to consider approving the annual Fisher Annex lease renewal for Deerfield Nature Park from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
support. It's been moved and supported to move item 9 to the regular work session of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Item 9 will be moved to the next week's meetings of the county commission. Our next item is consider approving the American Rescue Plan Act Local Parks and Trails Michigan Spark Grant and Resolution number 23-09 between the Michigan Department of DNR and Isabella County for Herrick Recreation Area Development Project ARP-0174 and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
So, in short, this is our Spark Grant project agreement. It's a mouthful because of all the words that have to be in the motion and the resolution, but this is our $319,000 Spark Grant for improvements at Herrick Recreation Area. And this was reviewed again by county legal counsel. It's a pretty hefty agreement. I think it was like 15 to 17 pages.
Wow.
And a lot of that is because, so this is kind of some ARPA funding that was funneled from the federal government to the state to then dole out to projects that were applied for and approved by the state. So not only do we have the state kind of requirements, but then there's some federal requirements built in there as well. I've reviewed it, county legal counsel has reviewed it. There's nothing that we can't hold up as far as an agreement, and there was no issues noted by Attorney Perrone. And then some background on the project itself. So the goals of this project are to renovate the bathhouse at the campground at Herrick Recreation Area, do some updates to the pit toilet that's located out by the cabins at Herrick Recreation Area, and then to completely replace a 30-year-old playground that is at the campground. And so with these improvements, we make that campground much more of an attractive destination for campers and county residents. We also increase the accessibility of the bathhouse and playground. And it fits into some of our master plan goals of making Herrick a much more desirable destination for recreationalists. And so it's kind of hitting a lot of our goals and priorities with this one project. One amazing thing about this specific grant opportunity is that it doesn't require any matching dollars
Oh, good.
from the county. Unlike those that we've had recently, we've had to put some of our own funds in. This is just money that we will receive to fund the project. And we're really excited for the opportunity. And then one other thing I'll note as part of this agreement, just to kind of give some peace of mind to the board, is that we are required to and will be hiring what they call a prime professional. So we'll bring on a consultant who will help us with the design, the engineering, finding the appropriate contractors, using the appropriate materials, meeting the accessibility standards. So along with our staff skills and knowledge, we will also have this professional consultant who's going to really help us work through the project details and who will be very familiar with this type of grant and the requirements of those things as well.
Sounds good.
So just in order to move forward, we have to basically sign off on the agreement and then have a recorded resolution to go along with that.
Any comments or questions at this point?
Okay. Thank you for the grant.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
Get her done.
Yes.
Okay, make a motion to consider approving the American Rescue Plan Act Local Parks and Trails Michigan Spark Grant Resolution number 2023-09 between the Michigan DNR and the Isabel County for the Herrick Recreational Area Development Project ARPA-0174 and authorize board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 10 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion carries. The item will be moved to next week's county commission meeting. Thanks, Alexis. Okay, our next item is consider approving individual parcels, personal service contracts with Larry Davis and Paul Stickler as bulk food delivery drivers from October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. And authorize the board chair to sign the same. And we have Jennifer Crawford here, Director of Commission on Aging, to spell out the details.
Yes, so good morning.
Good morning.
So these are just renewing contracts that we have currently that we've had, and these gentlemen have been doing this for so long, well prior to the
I
6
used to
years
go
I've
to
been here.
elementary school with Larry Davis.
Did you? Yeah,
Yes.
he's a retired city police officer, and they do a great job. So what this role is they bring the bulk meals from because we cook all meals here from scratch. And then they take them out to our meal sites. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we have meals at the 4 satellite sites. And so they carry the big containers out to those sites. So they have the meals. It also makes it easier at times, depending on where the home delivered meal driver is coming from. They may also take those meals to those sites so they don't have to travel all the way here, because our sites are Shepherd, Wynn, Wademan, Rosebush. So it makes it a little easier on our home delivered meal driver if it works out. But it's just getting those bulk meals. The rates have not changed. We did up it last year. And so right now both gentlemen are good with the rate that we have, and we would love to continue working with them.
Sounds good. Any
Yep.
questions or comments?
No, both fine guys and we thank them.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Could I get a motion, please?
Yep, make a motion to consider approving individual personal service contracts with Larry Davis and Paul Stickler as bulk food delivery drivers from October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, and authorize the board chair to sign.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 11 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. The ayes carry. The item will be moved to next week's county commission meetings. Okay, our next item is consider Consider approving the fiscal year 2024 Isabella County Commission on Aging Nutrition Site Agreements for congregate meal sites with Shepherd United Methodist Church at a rate of $150 per month, Fremont Township Wynn Community Building at the rate of $300 per month, Rosebush Manor at the rate of $90 per month, and Sherman Township Wademan at the rate of $250 per month, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
So we're just renewing the existing agreements that we've had in place. Again, these rates have not changed since I've been here, so over 6 years. So these rates were negotiated with those individual entities. This just allows us the space to provide our meals in more areas of our county. So these are the same sites that we've always had, and we would love to continue to be able to provide meals there. Our gals at those sites have done an incredible job of really increasing our numbers. And so, which congregate meals has been really a dying breed across the nation. And they have done just an awesome job over this last year of really getting more people out to come out to those sites. So
That's great.
it is a very valuable to us to be able to provide the meals out there.
Any questions or comments on this item?
Good thing.
Can I get a motion, please?
Yep. Motion to consider approving the fiscal year 2024 Isabella County Commission on Aging Nutrition Site Agreements and Congregate Meals Sites Shepherd United Methodist Church at a rate of $150 per month, Fremont Township Wynn Community Building at the rate of $300 per month, Rosebush Manor at the rate of $90 per month, and Sherman Township Wademan at the rate of $250 per month, and authorize the board chair to sign the same.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 12 to the regular and work sessions of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Item 12 will be moved to next week's county commission meetings. And our next item is consider approving the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging purchase of service provider agreement along with addendums and the business associate agreement, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. What do we have here?
So this is just renewing our purchase of service or waiver program through Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. What that is when we have an individual who needs a higher level of care than what we can provide, that is a place that we can refer them to as a waiver program. And then the waiver program, they become basically the care manager of that individual, and then they can contact other departments wherever that individual lives to see if, can you help us with these items or with these services? And so with this, we do provide homemaking, home delivered meals. And I think we've also provided some personal care for individuals through this program. And so last year, I looked it up last year, between home delivered meals and our in-home, we brought in just under $21,000 by providing these services. So it is a substantial amount that we're able to bring back to our community by having our staff help with these services for individuals in our community. They did also include, before we even had the agreement finalized with our board, they sent addendum F already. And so the state, so I was able to include it right with the agreement to you. But the premium pay that started with COVID, they kept saying it's ending. So we thought for sure it was ending September 30th of this year. They've extended again, and actually they've increased it.
Wow, that's great.
It was $2.35 an hour for our in-home aides. Now this year it's $3.20 an hour. This is a mandate from the state. We receive money to provide this to those of our aides that are giving care. And so it just goes on top of their wage. So we provide them their wage. They get the $3.20 per hour on top of what we pay them for their direct hours that they provide to clients. And then that also includes a 40 cents an hour, the amount that comes back to the county for us to help us cover the costs of payroll taxes and other costs associated with that increase. So that is included right with this as well.
Boy, I really believe in government.
It's been awesome.
Some people don't, but I really do. And
I was so
just
nervous
put
about
in.
it when it was ending because, man, for 3 years, those staff have had, because they're at the bottom of our pay scale. And so they've been receiving this from the state.
How many,
We have 10 aides. Yeah, we have 10 aides, 2 full-time, 8 part-time that receive this. So it's a substantial amount for them.
Yep.
So, and that's helping us to retain, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
So-
which is what we've been discussing all morning, right?
And it's not impacting our budget. I mean, we are receiving these funds from the state.
Right. Okay, I'll make a motion to consider approving the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging purchase of service provider agreement along with the addendums and the business associate agreement and authorize the board chair to sign this.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 12 to the regular session, work session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. The item carries. It will be moved to next week's county commission meetings. Thank you,
Thank
Jennifer,
you.
for the good news.
Chairman Marino,
Yeah.
had Drain Commissioner Bob Willoughby talked to you about adding something to the
No.
agenda this morning?
No,
Very good.
I've got this in front of me.
Yeah, we'll just, I'll ask Chairman to add it next Tuesday to the full board, to the work session.
Okay.
They're here in this building. I can go see, who's on site, right? now
Sure.
And bring them down.
sure.
I try to do that. Criminal justice has routine goodness.
This is pretty routine. We get this every,
Yeah, I was gonna say, we've had this before.
I think some people just have a lot or something. They don't even live there.
Right.
Captain Hook Circle,
Never know.
Thanatos, Florida. Well, there's a few of those.
I'll see everybody down there. So we can, I can talk about what it is, it's the delinquent roll for the
Right,
Lake
we get
Isabella
it
water
there.
supply. I think it is timely, so it will need to get added to next week's work session.
Yeah, we've had this before, so.
Every year, yep. It's, those who are delinquent for 6 months or more by September 1st. Basically, it's a vehicle to put, those delinquent accounts on the tax roll so that it becomes a lien on the property if they don't pay. As far as, it seems like to me, this is more people than last year, but without having last year's income, I couldn't say for sure.
Mhm.
That's what it would be helpful for them to hear from them. Well, it says this year's amount is lower than last year. From 45 accounts for 2022, so it is down.
Okay, well, since nobody's here from there, we'll just make a motion to include this, move to approve the delinquent water billing roll as submitted by the Department of Public Works, which constitutes delinquent service charges for 6 months as more as of September 1st, 2023 for the properties within Lake Isabella Forest Number 2 subdivision village of Lake Isabella Township of Sherman, County of Isabella, State of Michigan, and therefore constitutes a lien on the property as provided by the County of Isabella Ordinance Number 1 of 1975 as amended. I get a motion on that. Just call it item
13,
14.
14. Yep. Yeah, we'll move to approve the delinquent water bill
Right.
roll and submit the board.
You can just say item.
Okay, item 13 to next week's county commission.
It's been moved in support, moved to bring item 14 to the next week's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Okay,
Opposed, the same. Item 14 will be moved to next week's meeting.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
Okay, and call to the public.
Still no one here, Mr. Chairman.
In that case, I will adjourn the meeting of the Human Rights and Public Works Committee this morning. Thank you for everyone.